back to another episode of Sipping Wealth Live. I am back with a brand new episode. Tonight we are talking about what to do if you didn't get those tax forms. If you're like, yo, I know I work for this person or I know I worked here, but I have yet to receive that tax form, or I lost that tax form. I don't even know where to even go about finding it. So tonight I'm going to go over what to do if you are missing that form. But thank you for those that are joining me, where I bring you news, tips, and tricks on how to wealth up. So, like I said, let's go ahead and get into this topic. Uh-oh. Let me make sure that y'all can see me. Okay. I think there's a little glitch. Okay. Oh, okay. I don't know what's going on there. Okay. Oop. All right. For those of you tuning in with me, go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section. Say, hey, girl. Hey. How's it going? If you're watching this after, go ahead and comment anyway, so I can check it out and comment back and all that good stuff. But let's go ahead and get into this topic. If y'all do have any questions while I'm going through it, go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section and I'll make sure that I address it. But yes, let's get into it. So the first thing to do, as far as if you didn't receive your tax form, is to contact the person that was supposed to send it to you. So the bank, the employer, the investment company, the person that had you or is paying you out, the contractor, the contracting company, things like that. So go ahead and contact them and then ask them to either resend it to you or whether or not they sent one out. A lot of the times, these companies, a lot of companies, they will even though they may have the requirement to send out a 1099 or issue a 1099, they may not do it. But it's still up to you to make sure that you are claiming the income on your taxes. So even though they don't give you a 1099, you have to make sure that you are putting the income on your tax return. Okay. But the first thing that you could do is go ahead and contact these people and tell them, hey, I didn't get the form. Could you go ahead and send it over to me? The next thing that you can do is to make sure that you verify your mailing address, because it could have been sent out to you and it went to an old address and you're waiting on it, but it went to the old address, and then now there's a delay and it got sent back to the sender, and you're going to end up not having received the document. So make sure that you have the correct mailing address. You want to make sure that this is a habit of yours. If you change your address and you know you've been working for a company, then you want to update your address with them, because or update your address with the investment company, the bank, your employer, whatever the case may be, because this is a common issue of having an old address on these with these employers and things like that, and then your documents get mailed out to an old address, and then you're trying to figure out, oh shoot, where's this document? I never received it. And then a lot of these business and organizations, they have online accounts that you can get these documents from. So if you have a mortgage, you can log onto your mortgage company site and grab the tax form from there. If you have an investment account, you can generally log onto the investment account, Robinhood, Fidelity, whatever, and grab the tax form from there. So if you're somehow waiting for this tax form to be mailed to you, a lot of these companies don't even mail it out anymore. They send you an alert saying, hey, it's available for you to print or download in your portal. So go into the online account and make sure they get it. Okay, yes, that was my problem. I didn't get it. It went to my old address. I got to get right. Thanks for the advice. Thank you. Hey, sis. Thank you for commenting. But yes, yeah, making sure that you update that mailing address because yeah, stuff get lost. Okay. The other thing is, so after May 15th of the next year, so for 2023, if you haven't received your documents for 2023 and you haven't filed your taxes because you're waiting on it, after May 15th, generally the IRS updates the income and wages transcript. So the income and wages transcripts has all the income documents that were sent to the IRS on your to reflect the income that those people paid you. So you can go onto the IRS website, download that transcript, and you can see, oh, there goes that W-2, there goes that 1099 that I lost or didn't receive. I can go ahead and pull that transcript. Now, this is, yes, your taxes at this point is late because it's after the April 15th deadline, but at least if you're filing your taxes late anyway, you have that availability to go into the IRS website, download the income and wages transcript after May 15th, and go ahead and get those documents on that transcript. For previous years, if this is for like 2020, 2021, 2022, all those should be in the income and wages transcript anyway. Now, if you know you work somewhere and you're like, I should have received the 1099 and it's not on the income and wages transcript with the IRS, then that means they didn't send a 1099 to the IRS, a copy of the 1099 to the IRS. So even though they didn't send it to the IRS, you are still required to, report the income. But the income and wages transcript is just going to show what was sent to the IRS. But at least you have that option. And you can request a duplicate if it was sent out and you lost it. Maybe I've had the clients where they're like, oh, the document got lost in a flood, or I had a flood, or I got my house caught on fire, or whatever case may be, and they lost it, or it got lost in a move. So you can go and ask the issuer for a duplicate of the tax form. So contact them and say, hey, let them know, hey, I lost the form. Are you able to send me out another one? Is there an online portal that I could use so I can get it? You can utilize those methods to get it. Another thing that you want to do, if you are waiting on a tax form and the deadline's coming up, the tax deadline's coming up, or if you're like, hey, I'm just gonna pull the income and wages transcript after May 15th, then you want to make sure that you filed an extension. The extension was due by April 15th. Okay, yesterday. So if you did not file an extension on your taxes yesterday, it's already late. Yeah, you can't go in today and say, oh, I'm going to file an extension because the deadline was yesterday. But if you did file an extension, then that does give you more time to gather those documents that you're waiting on or you're waiting to be reissued to you. So that you can file later. And the extension gives you until October 15th if you're an individual filer. If you're filing for an individual return. If it's like an S Corp or a partnership, then September 15th. And then another thing is to contact, if all fails, contact the IRS. The IRS is really essentially going to provide you more guidance. They may even also point you in the direction of that income and wages transcript as well. Hello, Tuesday. Oh, one favorite tax lady. Thanks for accepting my taxes last minute, helping me put my mind at ease. Yeah, I got you. No worries. I got you. But yes, I understand a lot of people filed late this year. Quite a bit of people, like when I tell you this entire week, my books are full. I have no openings left this week. But people are like, filing late and they're like, oh shoot, I really did have to file my taxes. just kind of putting it off, especially because refunds aren't as high as previous years. There's no like huge credits or anything like that. So people are like, yo, my refund is not even that big, or I'm gonna end up owing. Like, um, I'm just gonna go ahead and file when I get a moment to. So a lot of people have been putting it off. That's another reason why you want to make sure you have an extension in, especially if you owe. Now, if you don't owe the IRS, if you're expected to get a refund, then you have up to 3 years to file your tax return to get that refund. Is your taxes late? Are you going to get penalized? No, because you're due a refund. Which means if you don't file your tax return, that just means the IRS is not going to give you a refund. Now, if you owe the IRS, then yes, you will be penalized if you file if you file after the extension and you didn't make a payment. Like I said, this is only if you owe the IRS. If you don't owe, then you're not penalized. It's just that you won't get your refund until you file, and you have up to 3 years. The other estimate your taxes. This is another tip I want to give y'all for those of you that didn't receive your tax forms and things like that. If you can get a good idea of what you may owe in taxes based on that other form, maybe it's a 1099, then go ahead and make that payment to the IRS so that you can avoid any penalties or audits. A lot of people, they get letters years later or a year later that says, oh, you owe the IRS $17,000. And they're like, what? And it's because they didn't put that 1099 on their tax return. They didn't add that extra W-2 to their tax return. So you want to make sure that if you work somewhere that you that you add it to your return. If for some reason you didn't get to add it to your return, if you document in time, then you want to do the steps that I told you. Get the income and wages transcript. If you filed your taxes and you forgot and you're like, oh shoot, I filed my taxes already and I didn't include that tax form, do an amendment. Okay, put an amendment in, because it's a lot better to just go ahead and put an amendment than to get the IRS to write you a letter saying you owe them $17,000 for not including that income on your taxes. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot less stressful too, because anyone would be worried and stressed out. They received a letter saying they owe $17,000, right? But this could be avoided and even mediated if you made sure that all the income was reflected on your taxes. And also so that you make sure, like, hey, if you have if you're a business owner, you have deductions, make sure those things are tracked. If you're able to qualify for different credits, making sure that you're going to the right tax professional that can get you your tax credits that you qualify for. Which brings me to my last point of going to a tax professional at the end of the day. And I say this in just about all my lives, is make sure that you go to a knowledgeable tax professional. Oh yeah, you know what? I didn't realize I didn't even have my little thing on the screen. Okay. My name tag. All right. So make sure that you're going to a knowledgeable tax professional, so that, hey, that person could get you the answers that you need or more guidance, and someone that you can trust as well. There are tons of people that are like, oh, I received a letter from the IRS. This was reflected on my return. I'm doing quite a few amendments right now and corrections on previous tax returns where people just had frivolous expenses, like crazy things on their credits that they didn't qualify for on their returns. And the IRS is writing letters. In fact, people are getting audited more quickly than ever now because the IRS is staffed. Okay. They hired a lot of people. So where you would think, hey, the IRS haven't wrote me in a couple of years and this happened 2 years ago, they could still write you a letter. Like, they could still be like, hey, you filed that 2021 tax return and this was wrong, or you owe us this amount, or that credit you said you qualified for, we're going to need to see more proof. And if you don't qualify for it, Don't even try it. Okay, people are getting audited more often, especially if they're claiming losses on their business for multiple years, 5+ years. You've been claiming the same 40, 60, $70,000 in losses. Like, yeah. All right. So definitely want to make sure that you have the receipts, you have the backing that's gonna substantiate those expenses and those claims. And then also for the credits, you actually qualify for them. But all in all, if you haven't received your tax forms, if you're waiting on them, if you're like, I don't even know if I'm going to get it, you are still required to report the income, but you can contact the issuer, the person that's supposed to send it out to you. Make sure that you have the correct mailing address. You can check the online accounts of the people, if it's like an investment account, a bank, or anything like that. Request a duplicate. um, Go on the IRS website and pull your income and wages transcript. These are options for you. All right, y'all. Make sure I have, see if I have any questions. All right, y'all. Quick live, quick and sweet. Making sure y'all have this information. If you do have questions, things like that, make sure that you go ahead and put them in the comment section. Also, this Thursday, every third Thursday is the Sipping Wealth Mixer. So we will be at the Vivitas Tapas by Pink Salt on University. So make sure, I know it says March 21st on here, but it's going to be April 18th. Make sure that you are there. We will be giving away cocktails. They're free on arrival as well to celebrate the end of tax season. Woo woo. All right, so go ahead and join me for this month's Sipping Wealth Mixer, y'all. All righty. Have a great, wonderful rest of your Tuesday. And I'll see y'all next week for another episode of Sipping Wealth Live.